Hi guys, how you doing? Cool, nice, beautiful day today. It's about, I guess it's about like 75, 80 degrees here in Los Angeles. Always a beautiful day. There's going to be an amazing weekend coming up. Stay inside. And yeah, we're looking forward to an amazing show today. So yeah, we've done about, I don't know, maybe 40 hours worth of shows during this Paintball Strong situation that we're doing, and a lot of different kind of shows. About a week and a half ago, a really good friend of mine, his name is LG. He's a comedian. We were comedians together, and he said this friend of his, who's also a comedian, he told her about my show. And she said, wow, that's really exciting. He said, well, I'll contact him. Let's see if we can get you on the show. And then when he told me, I said, where do I sign? So we worked out all the details. We put the thing together, and we had, I don't know, we had a bunch of people that were very, very positive about it and said, yeah, this is going to be a great one. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. Let me just kind of give you something from my heart here. So basically, in our society, the term "on the spectrum" is kind of used as like a blanket term. It's sometimes it's like I've been called unusual, I've been called crazy, eccentric, I've been called quirky, I've been called odd. I've been called on the spectrum. I didn't even know what on the spectrum was. I thought it was like a diet. I had no idea when someone said, "Hey, are you on the spectrum?" I said, "What does that mean?" So yeah, people just kind of throw that word around, and they lump everybody into it. Like if I act quirky or unusual, I must have something wrong with me or whatever. Yeah, I do have a craziness about me. I have a Pollyanna or a Peter Pan complex. That's true. I am very Peter positive. I love people. I love doing what I do. And sometimes people can take that as you're like a bit on the like this. So yeah, I don't care. And I'm hoping today that we can actually maybe right this disservice that people have, because there are people that have Asperger's or autism, and they're basically again lumped with people who might be a little bit, they might think them crazy or odd or whatever else. And hopefully today we're going to dispel a lot of those myths. We're going to kind of understand more about these syndromes that everybody talks about. We've got a lot of cool people we want to introduce you to on this on the show. There's a lot of people in our community that actually have autism, functional autism, I guess they call it, or Asperger's. They can actually, they're in the service, or they've been in the service. They're playing, they play with us, and you might not even know. Then there's like the other part, I guess, where some kids they just sit and maybe pick up the paintballs all day and just don't even talk to anybody. We've got a whole big thing to cover. It's just amazing. So I want to introduce you to a really cool cat who kind of got us on this track. What's up, lady?
Hey,
How are you? Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Vana Thiero, autism advocate, single mom of two sons on the autism spectrum.
Nice. How was my little ramble?
It was excellent. I loved how you talked about the spectrum as a diet. I'm going to remember that forever, on the spectrum diet.
I didn't know. Somebody said, because I act goofy, and I was working on someone's computer, and the secretary came by and she said, "Are you on the spectrum?" And I said, "I'm kind of thin. I mean, what diet are you talking about?" She goes, no, the spectrum. I go, "What do you?" So I actually went, and I they have an excuse me, they have an adult autism test you can take, and I took it and I cheated. Never mind. Anyway, so no, I actually took one. Mark, who's going to come on, he took one too. I sent it to him. I said, "Hey, you got to take this." And I kind of rated, like if you don't cheat on it, and I can actually I was like, yeah, that's a lot of those things apply to me. Some of them don't, but some of them do.
Yeah, some do, some don't.
So that's what I'm hoping we're going to do today is talk about, autism, Asperger's, the whole package. So people will kind of get a better understanding of what this is all about, and
Yes.
maybe treat people differently. Maybe.
That's the goal. Yes, that's the goal. And I loved how you talked about the different kinds of children. And then there's also adults that have been confined to their home because society hasn't figured out what to do with them. The parents have always taken care of them and they're just there with no activity to keep them busy daily. And that's what we want to help change.
Well, let's do this. You said that for people that didn't watch maybe our promo video, you said that you are working or created or finished a documentary. What was it?
We are in the process of completing the documentary titled Believing in Miracles in Spite of Autism. We've shot primarily all of our interviews. I just have 2 or 3 to finish. But we have the bulk of our B-roll. And if for in film and television talk, B-roll is the beautiful footage that goes over the interviews that illustrates what everybody's talking about. So that's the majority of the footage we're raising funding to shoot, and then we're raising funding to edit.
Yes, of course, to edit. Who's editing this?
Well, I have a couple of editors. Just a little backstory. My first documentary on autism, Vana Thiero Boys, A Lifestyle Dealing with Autism, I shot, produced, wrote, directed, and edited myself. I'm an Emmy-winning journalist, an Emmy-winning editor. And so I edited it. So I'm going to get my hands in this new film a little bit, but I have asked one good friend, great friend, Ernie Maroka. We work together at CNN, and I've asked him to do the primary editing, and then we may bring in a couple of other people.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to show everybody the trailer, and then after that, we're going to get a little bit more detail about your background. And then we'll bring in some other of our guests, and let's have a chat about this. Okay. So hold on one second. Let me see if I can do this properly. I'll make it full screen too here. And let me hit this guy and this guy.
This is dedicated to all the people that suffer from autism.
Autism burst onto the scenes in the 1930s, but began rapidly increasing over the past 20 years. Incidence rates before 1985, 1 in 2,500. 2000, 1 in 150. 2006, 1 in 110. 2008, 1 in 88. 2012, 1 in 68. 2014, 1 in 59 children diagnosed with autism each year in America, and 1 in 37 boys. And as parents of autistic children await the Center for Disease Control's most recent statistics, the bigger concern is what's going to happen to our children when we, the parents, are gone, and they are adults, 50, 60, 70 years of age. Who's really going to care for them?
I'm doing my best to raise my children so that they can be independent. But I don't know what would happen to them if I'm not around. They could end up in jail. Studies show that thousands of diagnosed and undiagnosed people with autism are behind bars with little to no support.
It is really unfortunate in so many families, and for decades, not long ago, these children were being isolated, kept in the back room, never being introduced to anything or anyone else.
This is really scary. The fear of most parents with children diagnosed with autism is beyond belief.
That could be my Bakari. He doesn't have language. What would happen to him? And studies show that autistic people have an elevated risk of becoming homeless.
I
I believe government's core principal function is to provide support to its citizenry, or at the state level, its residents, particularly those who can't provide it for themselves.
It's society's responsibility. It's not just the parents. We have to step in and do something.
Whew. Amazing. Good job.
Thank you.
That is really nice. Tell us more about yourself.
Well, right now, you know, that trailer, I created it, but it still impacts my heart. So the first thing I want to tell you about me is, you know, I don't know what's going to happen to my children. And I know so many others like them, all their classmates, all their lives. And now that I've traveled all over the country, parents have children who are now becoming adults, and they have talents, but they're not being utilized. They're not enough employment opportunities. There's not enough housing initiatives. And then, like I said in the trailer, you know, my biggest concern is for the non-speaking population. Communicate, that's not being taught in public schools. So just telling you about myself, I'm a passionate woman on a mission to help change and improve the future of everyone on the autism spectrum. Because, you know, the parents of these children are creating employment opportunities and have developed these educational shifts in how they can help their kids learn. They've created the housing projects. But you know what? When these parents are gone, are these programs going to still exist? This is a large part of our population. And I think about everybody who isn't autistic. They're going to be impacted because they're going to have to decide what to do with all these adults when they haven't found employment to sustain them. Government funding cannot sustain this population, nor do we want it to. These individuals want to work, they want to earn their own money, they want to live independently. You know how it is. You were a young man thinking, I need a job, I need my money, I need to get out of my mama's house, right?
Right.
Same thing.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so, and as far as your, you said you used to work for CNN, and so you kind of have like a media background?
Yes, I started out right out of college as a dancer in music videos and television shows, specials, films, things of that nature. Got turned on while doing extra work, watching the directors, and I was always hovering over their shoulder and asking questions. So I went back to grad school and learned production and started producing music videos and commercials myself, and then came back out here because I'm originally from Michigan, came back out here and started working freelance in news all over town and other shows, entertainment news primarily, Inside Edition. I worked for BET's entertainment news. And then when I was ready to have children, took a full-time job at CNN where, you know, as I mentioned, we won an Emmy for our 9/11 coverage. And around that time, my sons were diagnosed with autism and my life changed.
Wow. Damn. So what year did the diagnosis, I mean, what, were they born around 9/11, or is like, what year were they born?
Well, my oldest son is now 23, the youngest 21, born in the late 90s.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just the time when autism was becoming prevalent. Right when my son was diagnosed, a coworker's godson was diagnosed, and it was starting to come across the press. And my mom lives in Michigan, so she hears the news before it gets to LA, you know, so she'd hear something on the news and tell us about it. So yeah, we got them assessed because they didn't, my oldest son didn't hit his benchmarks right away. And I was, you know, an older mother. I had kids late. And so I had flashcards while he was in the crib. And I was just doing everything to, you know, make a super kid.
Wow. Right. Right.
Yeah. So he was able to sing songs and he knew his alphabet. But in terms of putting like a simple 3-word sentence together, he couldn't do that. He couldn't touch his nose, you know, things that other kids, my friends had kids too, his age, that things they could do, he couldn't do it. Now, his brother, on the other hand, was doing all the right things. He hit the benchmarks and then he regressed, you know, just before he turned 2. And so that was really, really disheartening because he lost language. And then we, you know, we're fortunate enough because California has regional centers that if you get your children diagnosed before 18, these agencies will help families get intervention services such as occupational therapy, speech therapy, psych evals, whatever it is the child needs, and they're covered for life because you, as you age, other things are needed. Like when my children were in their teens, there was a beautiful like 10-week sex ed course that talked about proper and improper touching. And that's valuable, especially with this vulnerable population, helping them understand when, you know, to let someone know that that isn't correct, and to understand their own feelings. You know, when hormones start racing, you know, because people are disabled, a lot of the special ed classes really do not touch that topic. So that was one thing. And then social skills, because socialization is a big, strange area for the autism population. Many of these individuals have a hard time with eye contact. They have a hard time reading social cues and knowing when to introduce themselves. I have a good friend and powerful advocate, Alex Plank, who's now a consultant on many television and movie sets and acting. He made himself go into lobbies and introduced himself to people randomly. He put himself through that rigorous exercise to increase his social skills. And he's progressed to the point where he's a public speaker and he's just really amazing. And so unless there are workshops or seminars or courses or therapies that help socialization, that's a big area of development that really doesn't come naturally with the autism population. So these are the things that the regional center and other states have other, I don't know what they call them, but government agencies that help provide services.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you. I've got some feedback.
Yeah.
Is that me or you? I'm not sure. I some, I can hear my. No. Anyway, so listen. There's a lot of celebrities that are involved with autism. There's a lot of causes. Again, I'm an outsider. I mean, yes, I've been called that, but I don't know if I am. But basically, I never have like claimed that title as being autistic. So I kind of feel I'm looking at it from an outsider's point of view. And so when I hear like, was it Jenny McCarthy? She was kind of like the big advocate for anti-vaccinations, and she also said that she cured her kid of autism. What's your opinions on that?
Well, you know, I have to be honest. When Jenny came onto the scene, the way she spoke on talk shows was so where my heart was. And this is long before, you know, she really got involved. But as a celebrity and a parent, she said on television, if you know someone who has a child with autism, go help them out, offer to babysit overnight. When she said that, I said, she's for real. She knows our struggle because the lifestyle is difficult. So in that way, I always applauded her. Now, when she came out with Dr. Wakefield, a person who worked for, a scientist who worked for the CDC during the time that they were trying to find out a cause of autism. And, that was really something that was all over the media. That was something that all of us parents weighed in on. And Jenny was very bold in speaking her truth. And her son recovering, when I say lots of, to me, 1 in 5, 1 in 10 is lots. There are quite a few autistic individuals that their parents have been able to get them therapies and, for lack of a better term, medicine elixirs that are triggering the brain, or they're able to find detox methods. There are quite a few different ways that parents have tuned into that have helped their children evolve and become what our term is in the industry, recovered. Now, I've never met her son. I don't know how he acts. I don't know if you put him in, line him up in a room with a bunch of typical kids and he looked just like them. I don't know that. Most of the kids I know who are adults who have recovered, there's still autism there, which I love, because there's something wonderful and endearing about autism. As you said, this is a loving population. These are really generous individuals. Mm-hmm. So, I say, yay, you, Jenny. That's pretty much how I weigh in, and the main thing is she's an awesome mother.
All right. So also John Travolta's son, Jet, he also, right, has autism?
Yeah, that was really tragic. They lost him, and, losing a child, I don't know how one recovers. Yeah. And I don't know that he and his wife, Kelly, I believe her name is, I don't know if they were very public regarding autism, until, he was gone, their son was gone. But you know what, I have to be honest, they've been in my prayers on a regular basis. I love them. They're both very generous human beings, and, I feel for them.
Now, do you feel it's hereditary? Do you feel that it's maybe the diet that the mother had? A lot of times they have that, I don't know what forgot the name of it, but there was like some people even carry the genes. They say, like, the Holocaust survivors, when they have kids, sometimes they carry that gene or that trauma, because we really don't know exactly how everything works, but that trauma of their parents kind of thing. Do you feel that there's a hereditary connection? Do you think it's a diet for the parents? Do you think where do you think this comes from?
Well, I'm no scientist, and I read like the next person online, and there's lots and lots of theories. Personally, that's just not my area of focus. I want to deal with, what do we do now, and what do we do when they are adults and they need some place to go? Because in my first documentary, a parent, Pat Grayson, shared a story with me of a friend of hers, a woman whose son was so used to a routine and he had behavior, so they had to lock the freezer and she would unlock it to give him his pizza at a certain hour. Well, she became ill, this woman, not Pat. She told me of this woman. This woman became ill and was bedridden and could not get up to unlock the freezer for the pizza. And this son actually harmed his mom because the routine had been broken.
Right.
Until we can address how to help these individuals fend for themselves, which they are capable of doing. But we haven't put programs in place to train them in that way. And parents haven't gotten to the point themselves to trust these individuals, their kids, and raise them up independently. Now, I learned that early on raising my kids, and I realized I wasn't going to do that. I gave them knives. I taught them how to cut food. I taught them how to cook. I taught them how to iron, because I don't know, in the Black community, we iron. Everything has to be crisp. We have to look very sharp. So I had my guys before school, they were ironing their own clothes. Of course, I started out slowly, hand over hand, and they wash dishes. You know, they do laundry. I had them as little tykes. I have pictures of them reaching up to put clothes into the washing machine. They did laundry. So, you know, parents who, you know, and sometimes it's cultural. Some cultures, mothers just, it's their job to do for all the kids. Well, in this population, in this community of autism, parents have to let go of the reins sooner, trust that their kids can function just like anyone else, and watch them soar.
Okay. Speaking of parents, I have a couple of them that I'm going to bring up, and I have actually a couple. Well, I'm going to do it this way. What's up, my brother?
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, tell everybody who you are, where you're from.
Oh, my name is Martijn, international, you better call me Marty, and I'm from the Netherlands.
Nice. And you have a son that has autism?
Yep.
Nice.
I have one.
Hold on one second. What's up, my brother?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, tell everybody who you are, where you're from.
I'm Archangel Michael. Family name's Charles Whaley. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama.
Nice. Okay, hold on one second. Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm always happy to see you. Tell everybody what your name is and where you're from.
I am Nia Lewis, and I am in Texas.
Texas, cool. And what's up, brother? How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. What's your name? Where are you from?
Mark Bellamy, Mark Grenau Bellamy, in the paintball world, but I'm actually from Michigan.
Nice. Vana, how do you say it? Vana, Via, what? What are we going with? Vana. So Vana is also from Michigan. Where in Michigan are you from?
I was born in Detroit, raised in Pontiac, went to school in Kalamazoo.
Nice.
Wait a minute. Kalamazoo is actually a place? You didn't make that up?
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
I thought that was something somebody made up. All right.
It does sound fictitious, right?
Yeah, it does. Archangel, you're saying your audio is falling apart, or the whole show?
What I'm seeing on the application for the show, the audio is having trouble buffering. For every person you're adding in, I'm getting more and more static.
Okay. So how are we now? We stable? All right. We'll check it.
No, everybody's kind of, yeah, it's all jittery, and it's a buffering issue.
Okay, cool. Well, let's hopefully we'll get this organized. I don't run the internet, so I can't do anything about that right now, but don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Okay, listen. The reason I brought these cool cats on the show is that Martin says that he does have a son with autism. Mark's son actually has Asperger's.
Yep.
Nia.
Nia.
Thank you. You said you have Asperger's, correct?
Yes.
And Archangel has a son that has autism. Again, you guys, I don't know if you heard at the beginning of the show, I was kind of saying that we've got a huge, I won't use this word wrong, a huge spectrum, like an umbrella of of names people use all the time of when they can't classify somebody, or they can't, or it becomes the new normal to say something like well, that Reaper, he must be on the spectrum. The way he acts crazy, and like this, and I think sometimes it does a disservice to people that actually have autism or Asperger's or something like that, and they kind of lump everybody together. So then maybe the people that actually do have it are maybe not getting the correct acknowledgement or attention or something like that. That's what I'm trying to say. In the paintball community, I've been called that several times, where people think that, and then I'm kind of like, it's kind of like calling someone crazy. That word has become like Kleenex or like IBM, where crazy used to be certifiable. They would put you in a hospital, and now today's crazy is just like, hey man, I'm crazy, right? Like, okay, cool. Is it kind of happening the same way with this autism thing, where people don't really know how to it's just easier to put people in a box and go, okay, yeah, bam, that's how it goes. Martin, let me start with you first.
Well, good, because I was going to say something about that. One of the biggest problems with Asperger's on that part of it's very high functioning autism. So what winds up happening is a lot of people just think the kid's a bad kid. He's not a bad kid. He just doesn't think the same way as everybody else. So not knowing what it was at first and then finding out it was Asperger's, in a way I was relieved, but of course I thought I was the only one. I thought, my son's the only one that has this. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. But when you go through life, everybody wants to label something in some way. So when my son would do things, everybody would think he's just this bad kid. There were certain people that would just say, you'll end up in jail, you'll end up in prison. He wasn't a bad kid. He was just frustrated with trying to explain himself or trying to get somebody to understand what's going through his head.
That's so
As time
common,
went on,
Mark.
the more we knew.
That's
yes,
so common. Mark, that's so common. And, it's probably because your son is super intelligent and everybody was looking at him like he didn't know what was going on, but he was in his head trying to say, you guys don't know. I know everything happening. And in school, they don't teach them.
We found out.
They dumb down, and nothing. People hate when they're smart and people are thinking they're dumb. So what do? You act out. That's what you do.
Exactly. Well, see, understand this.
Regular people act out when they get dumbed down.
Right, but when there's them pathways that don't connect correct, they get a little angry and lash out. I understand this. My son, I think he was 7 when we diagnosed him. He's 20 now, so we got it under control. But as we went through this, we found out that you are on your own. You're not the only one, but you're on your own because of your own fears. Like, oh my gosh, I got this kid that's on Asperger's, or I got this kid that's on the autism spectrum, and you're just thinking to yourself, I got to be the only one. Oh, I got to hide this. But that's the worst thing to do, is to hide it. Bring that out and let everybody know, especially the schools, especially those that educate the child, because you go from, we finally found a school that had a, my wife's going to kill me, special education teacher in it, because she's a special education teacher. That's why I couldn't think. Anyways, we had a special education teacher that was so involved and actually knew a lot about Asperger's. We went from him, he was in 5th grade at a 3rd grade reading level, because all teachers and everybody was like, it's a bad kid. Shove him aside, he's a bad kid. We hit the school, he was in 5th grade, reading on a 3rd grade reading level. Of course, that then affects math, it affects science, it affects every other thing when you cannot read. He went from 5th grade, and by the time he got to the end of 6th grade, he was almost in 9th grade reading level.
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
Because she knew what to do, and she unlocked his brain. And when she unlocked his brain and he started realizing that people weren't just calling him a bad kid, he excelled. I mean, And I actually have 5 kids. He's actually my second of 5. What was amazing was all my kids are smart in their own ways. He's the only one that ever brought me an honor roll home.
Ah.
Nice.
Right? So.
Did did he get that from the deli? The honor roll?
Yep. That was exactly where it was, around the corner.
Right. There you go. Okay, Mark. Martin. Let's chat with you for a bit. All right. Tell us about your story.
Well, my son is now at the age of 6, and he was diagnosed by autism when he was about 3.5, about. And he went to normal school first, but the problem there was they had about 30 kids in the classroom and only one teacher, and they knew he had a special class, and they had to treat him. They tried to treat him like a normal kid, but he needed the special attention. But the problem was there were, like I said, 30 kids, and every week, month maybe, there were even getting more kids in his class. And there was just one teacher on 30 kids with, I think, 2 or 3 kids, and one of them was my son, that needs a special treatment. So they have to tell them in front what they have to do and how it's supposed to be done, and then they have to go to work together with other kids. But for some reason, if it doesn't work, he needs explanation again, so he can continue. But there was just one teacher, and she couldn't handle everyone. So finally, we went to a kind of psychiatrist, and he did any tests, and then we found out he had autism. So with that in our pocket, we've tried to find another school because my son was unhandleable. When something didn't work, he starts to beat people. He even bit people. And
my son too.
Yeah. So that's what was our concerning. And so we talked to a lot of people, and finally we found a school not far from his old school. But they have now about 14 kids in one class, and one teacher, and they all get personal help. They explain every kid in class what they have to do. If a kid doesn't understand, they raise a finger. Then the teacher comes to him or her and tell her exactly what is to do. And now he started to use reading letters and that kind of thing. Mama, what letter is that? Mama, what letter is that? Daddy, what is that? And he was always working with letters, and now he wants to write them.
Yeah.
And he wants to write them every single letter, but he is, like I told you, 6. It is his third year on school. He skipped from one class, first class, to the third, but he wants to write all the signs together. And his teacher already said, well, you don't have to do that, but he is so willing to learn everything.
Nice.
And I'm glad he found a school where they can help them. And for us, he's now about for 6 weeks at home. And well, he writes really 7, I see here. Nice. My girl is next to me, so she's correcting me sometimes.
Nice. Hello. But all right, that's cool. I mean, that's like, wow. That's success. So again, it's a okay. So I'm a guy. I'm in the computer business. Two things. Guys like to conquer and and like master something. And then in the computer business, I can't leave a computer just hanging. So in my world, I need cures. I need fixes. I need bam, bam, bam. And a lot of times when you're dealing with situations like this, I would probably be very frustrated as a parent. And I just have to give my heart out to you guys because I need closure of things. And you guys are having to go through this this situation, and you have to completely change your brain 360 on how to work with this kind of situation. So when you guys are getting like what you just said, Martin, you're getting things that are happening, great things that are, what I'm saying, it's just it makes me feel like, yeah, that's just fantastic.
He's so willing to learn. He's calculating sums of one class higher.
Wow.
And he is succeeding with that.
Okay.
And he is willing to learn everything. And now we try to learn him to ride a bike. And he had his training wheels on for about a long time. And now since about a week, we're trying to learn him to ride a bike without training wheels. But he is willing to ride that bike, but he can't. And that's the problem. That's making him frustrated.
It's frustrating part.
Yeah. And we as parents, my girl has a brother that also has autism, and he has a brain damage as well. If you see him, he looks normal, but if you talk to him, you notice a little bit he has autism. But my girl luckily learned about that, how to react on those kind of situations. And I didn't have it, but since my son is there, I kind of learned it. It is, for me, it is kind of hard, but I want him to give everything, all the best that we can offer. And if he doesn't like it, you have to disappoint those kind of kids sometimes, and he gets so angry and sad. And luckily we find help with a girl, and she helped me and my girlfriend how to handle her, and luckily we can handle it now.
Good.
Well, yeah, here in California, they have in-home supportive services and ABA therapists, people who come into the house and teach you. I had a therapist come 4 days a week to show us, how to handle everything. Hey, David, I wanted to ask Naya your first question. You were asking about the word crazy and the word spectrum. Naya, what do you think about the use of those terms in our society?
Oh, I got to unmute her. Hang on.
Yeah, he muted me. See, I actually am called crazy a lot, and it's not just because of the Asperger's. To me, what I get called a lot is awkward. And also I hear a lot of special. I hear special a lot as well. And so with me, it's like, I don't get told that face to face. I get told that by my friends who hear it from other people. And to me, it's like, well, first of all, you can come talk to me face to face and tell me that I'm awkward and I'm like special and stuff. And I actually have friends who came over to my house who have like kids, and one of their daughters is autistic as well, but they didn't know I was autistic as well. But they could sense there was something kind of off with me, and they didn't know how to like approach it with me until I opened up and told them, and then it's like, oh, and then it clicked to them that I was special. There was this special thing about me. And it's like, yeah. And then I refer myself as the adult version of their daughter to kind of help them with their daughter. And I do talk a lot with my hands.
Nice.
That
All
must
right.
have felt really good being able to be a mentor to a family who was just figuring it out. What was that like?
It felt very special to me because their daughter is 3. And so kind of help relating what I've learned growing up and what I went through with school, and even now as a 26-year-old adult, that I am able to help a family help with their and understanding their daughter who's 3.
Yeah.
And their daughter is 3 and she's still learning how to speak. She's well, we call her an alien because of how she tries to talk. She talks so fast it sounds like an alien, but we love her to death. And it's just like their daughter listens and understands and communicates a little bit with me, which blows the mom's mind a lot, because she's like, wait a second, my child doesn't listen to me at all. But she like, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. It may be just because we both have technically the same relation.
It's a level of trust.
Yes.
I've learned spectrum people watch people in the room, and there are, in life, people discard us. They disregard us. Everybody decides, oh, I'm gonna pay attention to that person. I think that person's hot. I think that person's cute. I think that person's smart. Autistic people get it. They get it faster than everybody. And anybody who has dismissed them, they don't care about them. But somebody who gets them, they'll communicate with that person.
Nice. Yeah. Vana, let me let you. We're going to bring some comments in so we can get the audience in with this thing. So Lisa Weber's with team tags. It's mandatory that we mention team tags every show. She's actually an aide, she said, for ASD children. And Leon West from South Africa, he's calling you guys real heroes. And let me see. We're trying to get Jose in too. You can see, look at his background picture for his profile picture.
That's so cool.
Right? And who else do we have? Do you know who this guy is?
LG, hey there.
Hey, LG. That's great. And then we've got Chris, who wrote us looks like he wrote us a documentary. Now listen, Chris, do me a favor. Mark, can you do me a favor? Can you send Chris a link? Chris, I've been trying to get a hold of you guys to have you guys come on the show as well. And it was like hard to, on your Facebook page, I was like, come on. So we're going to see if we can get Chris on the show. I think it'd be really great to have him on the show. Let me see, who else do we have? Leon, we've got Lisa, Lee Williams. Let me tell you a little quick story with Lee Williams. Last year I went to Super Game East, and there was it was hot, it was crazy, it was like this. And Lee came over to me and he says, Jared is a friend of mine. Can you please maybe just hang out with him and talk with him? And I go, yeah. And you can see his head was, down and whatever. And Lee said, well, yeah, he's got, autism. So I brought him up on stage, and I took the microphone and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome a first-time player, Jared. He's just really killing it out there. And we got a picture together and everything like that. So I don't know, maybe because I've been called it enough and people think I'm nuts. I just have a big space in my heart for this kind of situation. So, all right. So
there's a couple things I do want to say real quick, if you don't mind.
Lee has a question. Lee has a question, David. He's saying, what if the people or kids that have autism are normal? And if the people like us are the ones with autism? Lee, yes, you run with that. You believe that because you know what? We were given autism for a reason, and we don't know what that is yet. But until that time, what if? the people with autism, this spectrum diet. What if the spectrum diet
I know,
is the real norm
right?
on a real spiritual universal plane? Because they are gifted with attributes that the rest of us don't have. And it's awesome.
I'm trying to bring
Thank you, Lee.
more people in here, and I'm Mark down here is my producer, and he's not producing much because he's just watching. So now I'm the one that having to juggle all these plates.
Hey, you know, normally. But anyways, I'm gonna say a couple things real quick because I am actually at work and got a lot of work. So I want to say one more thing about everything that's going on. Autism awareness is an awesome thing. And, you know, it helps us adults, for one, to know that we're not alone. We're not alone with an autistic child. It also, when you go through this, you find out a lot of times, oh, wait a minute, maybe I have that. There's been so many times in the whole raising of my son, I'm like, hey, but you're feeling this way. This is what you're thinking. He's kind of like, no. And I worked through it all the way until he's like, yeah, that's it. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. But of course, I'm a lot older than he is, and I've had to do this on my own. I was raised as a bad child. I'm not a bad child. But the biggest part that I think that kids have the hardest time with and the awareness that is not being done is other kids, because other kids can be so ruthless towards kids that if my son is watching this right now, he's going to be mad at me. But if you notice, I never said what his name was because I have 3 sons, so it can be any of the 3. Okay, but you know, he gets upset when anybody knows he's got Asperger's, and I understand why, because other kids look at him almost like there's something wrong with him, and there's nothing wrong with him. It's the same thing with what was it, Neela? You said your name was?
My oldest son is like that.
Yeah.
Go
my
ahead.
son is very well.
My oldest son is like that.
I was gonna say, like Neela, she's had it, and she's probably gone through that her whole life. Like people that are her peer are just looking at her like she's strange or like there's something wrong with her when there's not. You know,
I even get that look now as an adult.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, with the talking of your
parents
hand,
get the
and,
look too.
Yeah.
Martin, we get the look too when we're in public with our kids in the grocery store. People will look at us like, and then, you know, because I adopted this thing early on that I stopped looking at people. I only looked at my kids because I'd look at other people looking at me and it would devastate me. And that Michelle McGonigal made a comment below about how she has a son with Asperger's and how it's just been devastating for her and how he struggles so hard and how it's so hard for her. And so, Michelle, I just want you to know that's why I'm creating this documentary, so parents and everybody else will understand, because you guys were talking about how other kids treat our kids. We need all of those kids who will grow up with our kids to be aware of legislation later, because if there's not enough money to sustain this population, people could pass laws to warehouse them in institutions. Just put them away. They could, they're vulnerable. They could get caught up in the homeless population. They could end up in jail. Many are already behind bars because they got sucked into something, or you've seen the news stories where somebody couldn't talk and the cops just hauled them off and they're stuck in jail. So we need everybody to understand. And Michelle, I feel your heart. I know, but there's hope. These people right here are giving us all hope.
Nice.
Okay, and then the second thing, David, I will be listening. I'm gonna go ahead and get off, and we'll let everybody else get on here. But I will be listening. I'm gonna get the 2 people you asked. I'm gonna get them a link, and we're gonna get them on the show. I will be listening, so just call me out because I won't be able to watch.
Okay. I will.
Right.
Thanks. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mark.
And I have to add that my other half's nephew actually is full-blown Asperger's as well. So every time we are family holidays together, like I notice technically my future nephew, him and I can actually communicate and actually conversate and bond very well just because we're so similar. But to give you a better perspective, because I know a lot of people worry about their child's education and things with autism and Asperger's, is I graduated high school with a 3.8 GPA. My future nephew, he actually graduated high school. He actually got an internship with Disney, and he is actually going to college and stuff, and he wants to build robot. He wants to be like the next person that builds like the next roller coaster. Like, he is so animalistic when it comes to like roller coasters, that he can tell you everything from the speed to the G-force to the velocity of all the like Six Flags roller coasters known to man. And this kid is so smart.
Nice.
See, Michelle McGonigal, did you hear what Naya just said? Okay, so this is the thing. Our kids have a level of intelligence and they're so keen to detail. What we need is for the education system to start nurturing these qualities early on and giving them opportunities for internships. I know of different nonprofits like Exceptional Minds that grabs different individuals on the spectrum and nurtures these skills, but not all schools do it. You know, Martin was lucky that they got a teacher who finally understood. The same thing happened with Mark, but most kids are in a school where nobody recognizes or understands their level of intelligence. And that's what we have to fight for, helping them become educated and telling employers, this is the person you want designing your roller coasters. This is the person you want doing jobs that are so detailed, it blows the minds of the rest of us. The rest of us are like, don't really get it. And people are in jobs faking it nowadays. Let's be honest. Let's get these smart individuals on the spectrum in these jobs so that they can earn good money.
Nice.
Yeah,
listen, go ahead, Mark.
I mean, when my kid was when they said that he was had autism, they tested his IQ. Kid was 3.5, and they said he had a normal IQ. But I think his IQ is higher than what he can show.
Yeah.
And, it is just the time that they tested him. I think if he was more calm, then his IQ would be higher. Like I said, he calculates one class higher. What other kid does that?
Not too
smart
many.
kids, but
yeah. Well, eventually you'll have to find ways of getting him tested. I'm just starting to learn. I have friends who have a non-speaking son who they have learned how to get him tested. And he's in the 8th grade, but he's testing in many subjects at a 10th and 11th grade level. So start asking different people how to test. And you know what? Through David, we can all stay in touch and maybe I could help you find out.
I like it.
Okay,
Listen, so Vana, what's your marital status? Are you still single? Because there's a couple people in the chat here that are falling in love with you.
I am definitely single, baby.
All right, so we have Wolf is falling in love with you. He loves your spirit.
Dr. Love.
There we go. Maybe we can do a love connection show. We should probably do that. I'm going to do a love connection.
Reaper's matchmaking.
There we go.
Yes. Hey, Naya, are you single? You want to meet somebody too, girl?
I'm actually about to get married October of this year. Hopefully.
Oh, congratulations.
Hopefully.
So Lee
Well,
Williams.
with the COVID and stuff, it might be like our guest list might be like 10 people.
You never know.
Well, that's the whole problem with COVID. I mean, my son, he doesn't understand what is going on. We try to say him, don't come too close to people. He always has to, when we do grocery, he has to sit in the cart, and that kind of stuff. And it's hard for him, but
Oh
well,
yeah, it's
after
hard for my
several
kid
weeks,
too.
he understands it a little bit. But I
right.
understand what you mean.
Oh yeah, we
Have
call
you,
it the big bad germ.
have you
Yeah.
exposed him to the full definition of what it is?
Kind of. We said
Give him the
it's
full
a,
definition.
yeah, but he
Talk to
is
him
6.
like he's an adult. Tell him as if you were telling your next door neighbor. Like if your next door neighbor just came back from someplace and was out of the loop, you'd say, "Hey, listen, this is what's going on. This is how it affects. It started in this country." You could show him the map. You give him the full on. He'll get it.
Okay.
He's
I will
intelligent
try.
enough to get it.
Lee,
Well,
Yeah, he'll
Lee,
get it.
Lee Williams, what are we looking at? Because I want to talk to you, but it looks like what is that?
We're looking at a light.
Exactly. Lee Williams,
Lee.
are you on duty or
Hi,
something?
Lee.
Lee Williams, are you on
Lee's in
duty?
the box den.
All right.
Oh yeah, I'm in like the front lines and all that. Give me 1 second, guys.
All right.
Okay.
All right, cool. So
He's defending us.
fine.
Oh, I'm at work. I apologize, guys.
All right. So Lee, what is this? You think Reaper is hot? What is that? What is
Oh, that was you
Yeah,
know
right.
because of she actually mentioned cute and all that stuff, blah blah. So then I was like, yeah, Reaper's hot and everything, you know.
Okay, I got it. Let's tell everybody our backstory. We have known Lee for a long time. I even gave him his handle. His name is Cartoon Man. But let me explain this picture here.
Oh, I love
Yeah, so that's Jared. That's Jared. His name. He lives kind of close by to me. He's not a talkative kid. He has mild autism. I'm not too specific. I'm not too sure. But his name. My dad told me about him, and then suddenly I was like, hey, you know what? How about introduce him to some like paintball? They actually, we're like a whole family and everything, So I mentioned to him, hey, let's go. And then he was like, whoa, what's it all about? I was like, think of it like war. Think of it like Call of Duty. He was like, oh, heck yeah. And I guess you got to find that niche of what they like, what they want to do. And he loves like the military. He loves military style. He likes, combat. He likes, stuff like that. Video games also. And I was like, you know what? This is perfect. So I took him out. It was hot. And I mean, forgive me for saying this, but it's just that it was just so hot. And we try to bring him back in, but we can't force him to stay out of the game because of, it's not, you do your thing. And he just kept on playing and playing and playing and playing. That's what he loved. He loved to be out there and playing. And of course, I try to get him water. I try to get him, but he just kept on staying out there. I'm like, oh my God, I hope that he doesn't die out here of like heat exhaustion, But all in all, it was just great. It was fun. It was very interesting. Oh boy.
What happened?
So
zombies?
No, like I said, I'm just in like the front lines. Give me 1 second.
So
it's like squirrel.
I love how he said he kept playing and playing and playing. My youngest son has that kind of energy. Martin, does your son have lots of energy?
Yes. He likes to do a lot of stuff. Before the show, we played some soccer on the playground here, and he loves to keep busy. And like I've heard from Lee, my son loves to play video games. He's a huge fan of Mario. So yeah, he's very active.
Nice.
He loves to run. He loves to run forest, hide beyond a trash can, and then you pass by and he is boom.
Yeah.
You scared? I was like, woo, okay. I knew he was there, but
Right.
He's very active.
So Lee and I were at this game last year. It's OXCC. It's in Maryland, and that's where that's the game that he was talking about. That it was hot. It was about 100 degrees, 100% humidity. You would be talking with people, and all of a sudden, like we're out there on the field with our masks, talking with people, and all of a sudden you see people going like this. They just like fall over.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to leave because we were having a great time, but the heat was just unbelievable. So so for him to go out there and play, that was fantastic. But yeah, so
actually, that's where I actually met Trouble too. Was named. I met her over there, and she could tell the same exact thing. It was super hot, and we just didn't want to get off. But when then, like I said before, Jared just did not want to get off the field, and I was like, congratulations, you're good and everything. I mean, but you got to step back a little bit because we just don't want you to, get heat exhaustion and everything. But he just enjoyed, and the face that he was saying, and when he talks to people, he just didn't want to talk a whole lot. But once that he actually, played for the first time, he was just open to everything. And once that we actually talked to his parents, literally, and no joke, I'm not lying, it's a for sure thing that his mom started crying when she found out what exactly happened, because I did a live. I showed her pictures and everything. Hey, look at your son playing. He's actually out there doing stuff, meeting new people and everything. She was just bawling her eyes out, and it made me feel good. But at the same time, it's not for me to feel good. It's just for him to get excited to do something like paintball. That's what he actually enjoys.
Right.
And that's why I want to thank you, David, because David, see, you just have a heart for people.
Let me turn this way. Go ahead and thank me.
You just have a heart for people, David. You know how to just avail yourself, and your love permeates, and people like this young man got set free, and you made his mother cry. I've been in that position before where somebody understood my child. When somebody taught my non-speaking son to point to letters and showed me he could spell, I cried, and you gave that young man such joy, and you're giving us a voice today, David. Your heart for the autism population is amazing, and I don't want to take that for granted. I don't want anybody to ever think that you are nothing other than a saint.
Well, there are some in our community that don't agree with you. I have a lot of haters, and
I don't know about a saint.
That's because you're good at paintball. That's because you whoop their butts on the paintball field.
No, it has nothing to do with that. But anyway, and maybe
it isn't also about paintball. I mean, my son is in scouting, and one of his now the one of the leaders is autistic too, so they can't get along, and he knows how to reach him, and same as Lee did with the other guy. He's the same. They are definitely the same. So
okay,
it's good that they do things with people that are like them.
All right, guys. I apologize. I have to get going on stuff. It was very well, talking to you guys. I apologize, but I'm at work. Sorry, guys.
Bye. Hey, Vana, I brought in your secret admirer.
Hey, he's sideways. Okay, let me turn sideways.
All right. So listen, before we listen, hang on a second. I got to introduce Trouble. I'm going to introduce Wolf. Trouble, tell us who you are and what's your connection with all this?
I'm Michelle McGonigal, aka Trouble. I run the East Coast chapter for the 13th Legionnaires. My youngest son, actually, I'll name names, it's fine. I found out that he's still a little young, he's 4. But the specialists, the school that he goes to, I'm really fortunate about the teachers and the faculty that work there, how hands-on they are and how much attention they really do pay to the kids. And they have some really amazing specialists and stuff that work there. and they're the ones that informed me. It was still hard to peg at an early age, when the last pediatrician appointment he had. So when they told me that at, the last parent teacher conference and stuff that I had with them, everybody here, they told me about it. And I mean, I broke down and I cried, right there. I'm not a big crier. But it's not a bad thing. It's not like I know other people that have that, or children that have it. Oh, sweetie, it's okay. Honey bunny, they'll stand up. They're magnets, Boo. We're good. So here, bring it over here, sweetheart. Here. Sometimes what he struggles with emotionally is, some fits here and there. They process things a little bit differently. So when I broke down and I cried and everything, it was, the teacher felt for me, she started to cry. It's like, nobody wants to hear that. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong. It's just nobody wants to hear that, because it just means your child could, not do things possibly as easier as other kids can. And they might struggle here and there and stuff. And nobody wants their kid to struggle with anything. And, you want the best for your kids, so, and, you feel helpless too, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing you can do about it. And, except nurture them and, try to figure out, ways to communicate with them and help them and find their niche and work with them on their niche, not yours, on theirs. It's 3 boys in the house. Sorry.
I got it. So Trouble, listen, so Vana, listen, on our show,
everybody,
we have a thing called pop-up sponsors. Okay. So
where are we building?
So here, I'm gonna mute them for a second. Sorry, Trouble. So we have a thing called pop-up sponsors, and what happens is these people are the ones who are support our show, and they pop up and they talk for a couple seconds about who they are, what their what park or what brand they have, and they give something away. So now we have Zoe. What's up, Zoe? Can you hear us? No. Zoe, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Talk. Your turn to talk.
I can't hear him at all.
You can't hear me? Okay, Zoe, log out and log back in.
Hi, guys.
Okay, I need to pop up. Wait, let's see if she can do it. Can you hear us?
Okay, I can't hear Reaper at all.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, okay.
Tell her.
Yeah,
tell
I can
her.
hear everyone else.
Tell her that she's on. She's our pop-up sponsor. What is she giving away? What is she?
So
promoting?
you're our pop-up sponsor, Zoe. What are you giving away?
What do you guys need? We've got birthday parties. We can get you pretty much. Do we need any equipment?
Whatever. Listen, whatever she wants to do is fine. And all she is, and
we can
ask her where she's from.
A Titman setup going.
Nice.
So gun, mask, everything they're gonna need to get out on the field.
Nice. And ask her where she's from.
And tell us where you're from, Zoe.
I am from Houston, Texas, with Tanks Paintball.
Okay.
Me and my dad run this down here. He's been in business 30 years. I've been helping him for the past 10 or so. We are not a tournament field anymore. He did his own tournament for about 15 years, but we focus on entry players now, birthday parties, just getting people to come out and try it.
Nice. Okay.
So getting more people to do it.
So then, okay. So listen, Vana, I need you to pick somebody in the comments to give it to. Just anybody that doesn't have your last name.
Okay. I don't see any comments.
Oh, does anybody?
Can you show them to me?
Does anybody see any of the comments?
No, we haven't had any in a while. Oh! I don't know how to do that. Let me see if I can do that.
Okay.
Wait, you can.
So you guys listen.
I'm
again,
just live on Facebook, so
this is
then you can check it.
Tanks Paintball is in Richmond, Texas. If anybody's near Richmond or around Texas, Texas is a huge place. But if you want to get in on this, we're going to pick somebody, or if you want to, maybe the first person to PM Zoe, and you'll get in on that prize. Okay, how about that? You got to be from Texas, maybe around Richmond or Dallas or something like that. PM Zoe, and you're in on the prize. So the first one. So tell Zoe she can't hear me. The first person to PM her that's from Texas,
okay,
wins the prize. Can
Okay,
you say,
Zoe?
Yeah.
The first person that is PMing you wins the prize.
From Texas?
Okay.
From Texas.
From Texas. Oh, the first, David, you mean the first person from Texas PMing her?
Yes, the first person from Texas to PM her wins that prize.
Ah, so the first, Zoe, so the first
Yeah.
person from Texas that PMs you wins the prize.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Zoe. Tell her thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
no problem.
Bye. Thank you.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay. Let's bring in all right, let's bring in bachelor number one.
Good girl, Vana.
Yes. Bachelor number one. He likes long walks on the beach and dun, 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 dun. Remember that? Okay. All right. So everybody, listen. Wolf, tell everybody who you are. Oh, really? No audio? Fantastic.
Justin, can you hear us? Wolf, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Wolf, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I just can't hear Reaper though.
No.
You can't hear Reaper also?
No.
Listen, that's not here's what I have to say.
There's a missing link in there. The connecting link is the missing link.
Just tell Wolf I'm going to kick him. I'm going to bring him out of the studio. He has to log back in. Just tell him that.
Wolf, he's going to take you out of the studio. You'll have to log back in.
Or being kicked. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So the rest of you guys can hear me though, right?
Yes.
Okay. It could be a Canadian thing. I'm not sure. He's from Canada.
Canadian thing.
I got
Hey,
no idea.
Trouble, I saw you on the women's show. Michelle, Trouble, I saw you on the women's show.
There,
I
she's
love
you did?
You were awesome.
Oh, thank you very much.
When I saw you pop in, I'm like, that's that lady.
Nice. Okay, so what are we missing? Did we kind of like hit a lot of stuff in the in this thing? Are we like again, I keep on talking about the being on the spectrum and that kind of thing.
No.
Listen, Boo. I'm running your show.
No.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that I'm hoping that more people are going to kind of maybe from the show or whatever, maybe kind of understand that when you are classifying somebody, that maybe they should be a little bit more in depth about it and kind of understand instead of just blanket people and go, he's just crazy. I've read some comments about me where they say, oh, it looks like Reaper's on the spectrum.
Go, Thomas.
That's right.
Here's what I've gotten the question. I was hoping maybe we'll wait. I'll do it now before Wolf gets back in. Okay, so basically, we are all connected, and we're actually teaching about the paintball community. She's learning about the how cool our community is, how open we are for everybody. There's a big thing in our community, Vana, which is that it attracts a lot of broken people. It attracts a lot of people maybe with PTSD, maybe they have some spousal abuse, maybe there's drug abuse, and then they come into our community and they kind of find harmony. They kind of find this connection, like they can blossom, that kind of thing. It's an amazing thing that I fell in love with basically in our community. A lot of times I've met kids who were bullied. And maybe because they had Asperger's or autism, they were bullied in school, and then they come into the paintball, and then they're able to blossom because there is no bullying. We're trying to have them like be part of us, kind of thing, right? I've seen that many times that paintball has helped people, and I've seen that with like what you were just explaining with this with Jared, that he was like maybe not socially active, and then all of a sudden they give him a paintball gun and a mask. And all of a sudden he's alive. This is just like amazing. So I I'm hoping that then because I know that your friends are watching the show, and we have an international audience that are watching the show that might not be connected with paintball, and I want them to understand that they have a home here. So if they want to come play in paintball, it's just like open arms. Yeah, again, we do have our haters. We do have people that maybe don't understand each other, and so maybe they've got their own baggage, so they're hating on us. Whatever, that's in every world you go to. I got it. And there's somebody that's watching our show, and hopefully I will be able to communicate with him after the show, and maybe we'll be able to maybe iron things out. So, he knows who I'm talking about. But for right now, I want your guys' opinion. Tell me how you think that this is going to be good for autistic kids or spectrum kids or Asperger's. Martin, let's go with you.
Well, I've placed my son when he was 4 with a splat master on a paintball field, and 4, and he was the youngest over there. But I ran after him, and I said, splat master, you have to pull it, and then you shoot. But at that time he wasn't strong in his arm, so he couldn't pull the gun and then shoot. So I was walking behind him, and every time, Daddy, load, and I was like, okay, click, and then he shoot, and then I ran after him, and then suddenly he said, there's one behind the tree. I said, okay, well, I loaded, you get it. And he went behind the tree, and he shoot that kid, and he was so freaking happy.
Wow,
I was like, it's really nice. And a few months ago, he was, Daddy, can I shoot your marker? I was like, are there people in the field? He walked to the field. Yes, there are people. So okay, say me when they are left, when they leave, and then you can shoot them. And then after about 5 minutes, he waited really patiently. That surprised me. He came to me, Daddy, we can shoot now. So I gave him a gun, and he shoots on plates, he shoots on trees, and he really was trying to aim the gun, and it was so funny, and he had so much fun.
Nice.
Then the rotor was empty, and was like, Daddy, fill it again, please, fill it again. I want to shoot more. I was like, okay, if you want some. Well, he had the time of his life. So when he is able to play paintball, I hope he does.
Oh, very cool. Mrs. Lewis, tell us about paintball and autism.
Well, I know I struggle a little bit with it comes interacting with both of them, because a lot of people do say I'm socially awkward, and if you can't tell with like how I communicate, it's a daily struggle for me, because I can take 12 steps forward and then eventually take 20 steps backwards, just because I have to sit here and process what I'm trying to say to another person, just so they don't like take it the wrong way, manipulate it or twist it around and then throw it back into my face like I'm being rude, when honestly I'm just trying to be friendly. I'm just trying to say something nice, but it's a daily struggle. And so when I do play paintball, yes, I segregate myself from people just because of how often I get picked on, just because it's Asperger's is more socially awkward than socially, like just socially interacting with someone is a very daily struggle for me. So that's why I try to separate myself from like other camps and other people. But if it's those people who actually know who I am, they can come and talk to me, and I can have a regular conversation with them without thinking and having to process what to say, so they don't get mad at me or take something what I'm trying to say the wrong way.
May I make my compliments? That you're very brave that you talk in this show about what you have. I mean, you talk to me, you talk to Vana, you talk to David, and in my opinion, you're very normal, and you're very brave doing this. I applaud for that. Really.
I'm like shaking to my core, and I don't know if it's like the anxiety or like the energy drink I just had. Like,
You're doing amazing.
but I feel like I'm having to sit here and just over processly think of what to say, so I don't like, because I know on the women's show, I was trying to say something and I couldn't come up with the words to say it. And Reaper jumped in and like actually put the words that I was trying to say and like actually said it for me. And I greatly appreciate it, because that's a struggle for me as well, especially in the real world and the paintball world, because of the Asperger's that I have, which is a mild form of autism.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. Irene says when my son's on the paintball field, autism, the paintball community has accepted him with open arms. And so, yeah, that's Jose. He's with the Chi-Town Bandits in Chicago. He's just a really cool cat, and he's actually helped Irene's son a lot when it comes to paintball. So we're going to give a big shout out to Jose. He can't come on the show. He's working. I've been feverishly in the background sending people links saying, come on the show. And they're like, I can't work. I'm working. Okay. Anyway, so Trouble, tell us about paintball and autism.
Yeah, we just built a
Oh, this is my youngest son.
We built it.
This is Maddox. Maddox, you say hi?
Hey.
Maddox, again, like you said, he struggles socially, sometimes emotionally. He loves words and letters and stuff like that. He can spell, like he can read better than most people can, like honestly, like most adults can even speak. And you write anything down and yes, he can, what word are you spelling? What is that?
Boulder.
Boulder. He's spelling boulder right now. So he's that's like his niche and stuff. And they gave me a few tips and stuff to use. I mean, I never had it directly affect me. You know what I mean? Like I know somebody who knows somebody and stuff like that. So struggling with him, like my older two boys, they're really, really great with him. Once I was able to, I have my ex has a nephew who's, hey, voices.
Master B.
He's sometimes Master B. Sometimes it's a lot of repetition with him, and he's on a loop sometimes, and he gets like in his own realm, and he's just like tunnel vision. And it takes him a minute sometimes to like refocus and do what he's doing, but it takes a lot of patience. And I think anybody, even without a child being on the spectrum, as a parent, you acquire a deeper level of patience in general. And then when you have something like this, man, did you not even think that you could develop such a level? You didn't think that was possible, but it is, and you have to, because otherwise, you're not gonna be able to make it, and they're not gonna be able to, squeeze the most out of everything either if you're not in it with them. Right. And taking a back seat to certain things and like what methods may have worked for my other two kids isn't necessarily going to work to the T now this time around. Right. So I picked up a lot and everything. I'm still learning. This is all very new to me still. But he's exceptionally bright, and and hearing what Naya had to say and everything, and hearing what other people's stories and Lee and stuff like that, it gives me a lot of personal hope for him that he is going to be able to squeeze as much out of life as he possibly can. Nice. And he's not going to miss out. And I'm a big believer in like you said, like keeping people informed and stuff. And my sons are so incredible with him, especially my oldest. And he was actually reading about Asperger's. Wow. And and he takes the time to learn the tips and stuff, like telling Maddie he needs his blinders, and when he does blinders and stuff like that, that's how he refocuses to you.
That's why I feel like I have to do half the time just to focus on something, because other than that, I'm like squirrel.
I say that all the time. My son has the attention span of a squirrel, but like, you know, times 10. I guess so.
Trouble,
you know, and him being 4, you know.
Trouble, thank you very much for sharing that. Listen, everybody, can you please say hello to Mary Ellen Hastings? She's watching the show. She was our.
I love her.
Yeah.
Mary Ellen, I'm coming to Florida. I want to meet you.
Nice. I like. Okay, cool. So let's well, listen. That's all the time we have. Sorry, Wolf. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
He was here for eye candy. That's all.
There was a comment from Leon West. Leon West talked about being bullied because he had dyslexia. Leon, your struggle is the same, and we know that's hard. You know, we face worse bullies nowadays than we ever faced before. And thank you for sharing, Leon.
You're going to listen. Whatever. Vina.
Yes, V.
I'm going to call you V. You're going to be able to say that to him directly because he's waiting in the green room from South Africa. So hold on one second, okay? Hold on one second. Okay, Wolf, tell everybody who you are and your connection with the show.
Hi, my name is Wolf. Long time watcher, first time paintballer. First of all, is my sound coming through okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
No, it sounds like you're underwater.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's crackling like that. It's kind of crazy. I might have to. First of all, thank you to everyone who's on this panel. Love the work that everyone has done. I know the experience. I know it well. V, you're an amazing spirit. You're totally inspiring me right now. Like, wow. Beautiful inside and out. Keep doing what you're doing, please. My son, Miles, he's now 14, and he was diagnosed on the spectrum when he was 3. So, Michelle, I know exactly what you went through. I know the exact feeling, and I've been there. And I shed many a tear. And plus the fact I also ended up as a single parent with my son. And he's got an older daughter, Vanessa, which is 2 years older. So it's been a struggle, especially, you know, he started off in the public school atmosphere. There were never enough teaching assistants to help him out. It was like they weren't teaching him anything. It's more like babysitting him so he doesn't get in trouble. I got him into a private school. It's a whole history of stuff I could go through that I don't want to monopolize David's show with regards, but it's I don't want to say it's a struggle. I want to say it's an adventure.
Adventure.
One of the proudest moments. One of the proudest moments I had was when I took my son to play paintball for the first time. You know, he was 10. I'm like a helicopter dad. I'm worried about everything, and so I was freaking out. And I'm supposed to be this big tough wolf guy, you know, on the paintball field. But when my son gets on there, I'm like this little, you know, crybaby dad, and I'm really afraid. And he just went on the field and he destroyed. He took control. He took command, and his speech just improved, and he just grew inside and out. And it was an emotional day for me. I even posted it on YouTube. Wolf's son plays paintball for the first time, and I didn't make him being on the spectrum the focus of that video. I said in the video that he was on the spectrum, but I didn't make that kid with autism plays paintball. I didn't want to make that the focus. I just wanted to see the world to see what he was capable of before they even tried to judge him, type of thing. And you know, I went up to 70,000 views, and I got so much messages from people saying how inspired they were by seeing someone like themselves play paintball. And I got a lot of parents who said, I was afraid that the sport would be too much for my son because I didn't know what he's capable of. And I saw your video, and he's like my son, and it flourished from there. So like I said, every day is an adventure with my son. And thank goodness for my daughter, because she's, you know, 2 years older from him. They're now 14 and 16, and she's like another mom to him. She takes care of him. She gives him a hard time. She makes sure, you know, he says his words properly. And it's all about the support system. It's all about having faith in your little ones, and seeing people like you on air. It just fills me with joy and inspiration. Like, I mean, I already had a thing for Michelle. She's such a wonderful mom and everything. And now I see V and she's doing her thing. And I'm like, it takes an extra special person. And Nia, you are an amazing lady within yourself. Oh my gosh. Nia, you're like so inspiring right now. I hope that my son comes out even close to how amazing you are. And I hope we get to play on the paintball field sometime if you come out, because wow, Nia, like you have impressed me with your stories and your strength.
I
And your,
know. The last time
just
I
your
saw you was
voraciousness
up
for
in
life,
Chicago.
period. Like, never stop what you guys doing. And it's I'm glad David is doing a special like this. And I'm also at work, but I'm my own boss, so I don't have to worry about anything.
Nice. Okay. Well,
But,
listen,
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Listen, Wolf. A couple things. I need a volunteer to just go down to the green room so I can bring South Africa in. Naya,
Peep Wolf.
who can I? Let me. Mark.
Wolf, I'm on all the time. All right, you people are sick of me.
All right, so I'll see you in a second. I'll see. Just don't run off. Hey, China, what's going on, mate?
Hi, Sayabonda, Dumela, and Goeiemorgen.
No
and
way.
okay, there's like 12 official languages. I can't read all of them.
I don't speak
Did you
Afrikaans.
just say goeiemorgen?
Yes.
Goeiemorgen.
Listen,
Almost
you
like
got-
Dutch, Goeiemorgen. But
Yes,
just
yeah.
Goeiemorgen.
Afrikaans is Dutch, so that's why.
Hey, Leon, I'm a fan,
Thank you.
by the way. We got to play together one day.
Nice.
Oh, definitely, man. I promise I'll actually come all the way just to shoot at you.
Nice. Hey, listen, they don't have hair cutting in the bush. What's going on with you, man?
Long story short, I actually grew my hair for a cosplay that I did at a big game. The idea was to do that whole Walking Dead Daryl Dixon thing.
Okay.
And since then, I just decided not to cut my hair and stuck with it. And yeah, due to lockdown, kind of let myself go.
All right. So tell us your connection with the show.
Okay, basically, how should I put it? Due to, let's say, not incorrect teachers, just ill-equipped and ill-trained teachers, I was originally diagnosed as autistic. And due to this, they sent me through the whole process and all that type of things. When it turned out, in actual fact, I was dyslexic, not autistic. Big difference. Please take note.
Big difference.
But with this came the stigma, came all the bullying in school, and of course, fully grown people acting like complete and utter, let's call them morons. This led to extreme anger issues. I mean, in school, how do you deal with a bully? How do you express yourself? You do it violently at the end of the day. And with this, obviously, I grew up and had a lot of anger issues to deal with. Became extremely introverted in my life. Like, basically, I'd always speak so softly and just like try to be in the back of the car. Till about 4 years ago, a magical thing happened. My cousin gave me a 98 Tipman. He told me, like, yo, check this out. I'm playing paintball. And I'm like, dude, I want to try this. Went with him to play paintball. Absolutely went nuts. I absolutely found my zen when I was being shot at and had to defend off some of the top players in SA with a good old-fashioned Tipman, a 98 Tipman. Barely a month later, got myself a marker, and I became as extroverted as they can be. I mean, if you're looking for me on the field, just keep your ear out. You will hear me coming. Because I do not like being ignored, plain and simple. You will not be able to ignore me.
Nice. Listen, Vana, this is what we're trying to get across about our community, is that, well, again, people come in whatever baggage they have, and hopefully they leave it at the door. And then this magical thing happens. It's nothing like I've ever experienced. I've been playing since 2008. I didn't know about paintball before that. And as soon as I drank the Kool-Aid, I was like, what can I do for this community? Like, this is just amazing. And yeah, so the community has been amazing to me. And I've tried to give back more than I've given. Just fantastic. So we're hoping, Vana, that I'm just giving you all these different names. Anyway.
It's all right. I answer anything to those who love me.
Listen, I'm hoping that, again, that your community is watching our community, and they're going to maybe go out and try it. Maybe they'll contact us and say, hey, I saw Wolf, I saw Leon, Nia, Martin, I saw these people. Let's give this a try. Bring their autistic kid out to play and you know what I'm saying, and have a great time with it. I know there's a stigma when we use the word guns and that kind of stuff. We use the word markers, whatever else. I know some parents don't like, you know, the idea, but if you think about it really, kids are raised playing hide and seek, cowboys and Indians, bank robbers, and whatever else. It's a natural instinct in us to do that kind of hunt and be hunted kind of thing. We're just adding to that, and nobody dies. You know, you mark each other with paint, and that's it. So you parents that are watching that have never played paintball or they're not part of our community, understand that we're not a bunch of gun-ho white separatists with these flags of like, you know, like we're gonna take over the world, and we're not that way. We're just old cats. And we all got our things going on. We're just another kind of community. So we want you guys to come and join us. Bring your kids, bring your family. Doesn't matter. Just come out and have a great time. That's my
We
soapbox.
already got one.
What's that?
If I may mention so,
Yeah, go ahead.
We already
if I can
got
mention
one.
something.
Wait, go ahead. Leon, go ahead.
If I can mention something, every field I've been to, every player I ever met, all say the exact same thing if somebody's interested in paintball. Join us. Come play. Hell, some of the people will even help you out with markers, masks, whatever you want. You just have to be willing to show up, and we will promise you we'll give you a bang for your buck, or don't even pay. We'll pay for you. I promise you, this is the big thing about paintball.
Yeah. We'll actually, that's true. He's exactly right. A lot of times parents don't know what to do. We basically, oh, that's a picture of him, right? So a lot of times we just tell the parents, listen, come out to the field. We have extra equipment. We have extra paint. If you connect with me, I can probably get you into free for a lot of the parks that know me. So that's it. There is no reason to say no. Just come in and have a great time with us. Okay.
I'm so excited for everybody who I know who are following in spite of autism, that they can learn that this is another avenue for their children. And the most exciting part is we have representatives from not only all over the country, but all over the world. So all those people who know me from my first documentary, which was nominated for an Africa Movie Academy Award, all those people will get to know about paintball. And you guys, if you want to see my first documentary, just let me know. We'll connect through David, and I'll send you a link.
Okay. So you guys listen. Listen, I love it. I could talk for hours. You guys know that. But
yes, you can, and we can listen. This is fun.
No. Listen. Let's go around the horn. Let's just let's do some closing statements, and then we'll say goodbye to everybody. So Martin, make it short. Get that? That's my joke. It's a joke. Marty Short, Martin Short. Never mind. It's a Canadian joke. Martin Short. No, Martin. Just give us a brief little synopsis and a goodbye. And why don't you introduce that the head on your shoulders, the floating head over there? What do you got over there?
No, it's just me. Someone's girlfriend. I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Hi. Thank you. I'm good.
Nice to see you. Wolf, you're making too much noise.
No, it's fine. I was sitting beside him all the time.
Okay, cool. Someone's making too much noise. Okay, listen, Martin. Martin,
Yes,
before we
bro.
say goodbye to you, just give us some closing statements here.
Well, autism isn't an illness; it is a gift.
Wow, dude, that's a Hallmark card right there.
Put
All
it
right.
on a plate and hang it on the wall.
Nice, I got it. Leon, what do we got before we go?
Well, I can say this from personal experience and having worked and basically went to school with autistic kids. If you think they're stupid, you're a bloody idiot. Those kids can absorb information like you will not believe.
Ooh,
just sit down,
true
actually
that.
talk to them and watch. You'll be shocked.
All right, I like it. Wolf, what do we got? I'm unmuting you. Go, Wolf. Wolf, what do we got?
Taking the duct tape off. Just simply look out for other people. Try and live in their shoes. Empathy is life. And, you know, if you want to refer to people on the spectrum as special or different or weird, just try to appreciate them for who they are. And just talk to people and you'll learn. And
Nice.
V, I want to see your video. I want to see your movie. It's a must for me. So we have to connect. And you're a lovely, beautiful woman, all in and out.
Nice, nice. Nia, Nia. Who's that behind you? Who is that behind you?
The Joker.
Hey,
Hi,
Joker,
David.
how are you?
Hi, Wolf.
That's Tom Lundquist. If you guys want some amazing, listen, if you guys want some amazing beef jerky, he tracks down his own meat, he kills it, he butchers, he does it, and he does everything, and then he just sells it. It's amazing meat. It's amazing beef jerky. So there you go. It's called Joker's Jerky. Go check it out on Facebook.
It's Mr. J's jerky now.
Oh, really? Nice. Okay. Way to screw up your audience. Thank you. All right, cool.
Sorry.
There you go. All right. So, all right, Nona, whatever. Give us some closing thoughts.
Just be yourself, and try not to let others like either take you for granted or downgrade you just because you are special, you're a great individual, and just be yourself and conquer the world.
Nice. I like it. Trouble. What do we got? Some closing statements. Some closing from the heartfelt. Well, because you have a problem about speaking from your heart. So now she can't hear us.
No, I'm just messing with you. I can hear you.
Oh, fuck you. All right. Go ahead.
Honestly, I think that it would be a huge eye opener for people to acceptance in general. Like these kids, they don't judge like normal people judge, and they're just there, and and they're just existing and stuff, and it's accept them for who they are and stuff, because they're accepting of you. Like, they're not judging you or anything, like, at all. And, there's as honest as they can be, and they are brutally honest. And there's no filter with them. And to tell you the truth, I love that. And, it's them. They are the most real. And, they're not hiding nothing. And I love it. And I think that if everybody should be more accepting and patient of one another. Nice.
I got it. Whew, what a show. You guys listen. As you guys know, we've been doing, Mark and I have been doing these shows like, I don't know, the whole month basically. And probably sometimes too, I'll be doing another one tonight with Phil Ramirez. He's a Texas Brigade commander. But the idea behind the shows are to spotlight the community. Whether it's the women's show, the international cooking show, we're going to be doing a kids show. We've got all these kind of shows coming up. And we don't talk about what?
Drama.
Anybody? It starts with a C. You can drink it.
Corona. Yay. Corona. I said the C word. I said it.
You want to say the C word because that's not bad. But anyway, what I'm saying is that we already know what's out there. We already know what's going on. And we already know what paintball is. So my idea is to, again, focus and highlight on the community and to bring everybody together and to have these amazing times. And this is just one of them that we did. Thank you very much again. You guys you rocked it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my friend.
Okay, listen, you guys. Lee Williams wants us to say COVID because I guess he didn't realize that. Yes, you know what we're talking about. Thank you, Lee Williams. Yeah.
I call it that shall not be named. I'm a Harry Potter fan. That shall not be named.
So here's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to play our goodbyes. I want you guys in the studio right now to hang out. Don't run away. And we're going to just end the show, say goodbye. Thank you very much again, everybody, for hanging out with us, for putting up with my craziness, my uniqueness, my unusual, my eccentricities. What's the word I'm looking for?
Your ability to invite good people.
Oh, that one too. That's not a compliment. I'm just trying to. I'm put myself down right now. Anyway, listen, you guys. I'm crazy. You guys know that, but I'm crazy in a good way, and I love it. And I'm having an amazing time with this.
Crazy good.
I'm crazy good. Anyway, you guys,
crazy good.
We are going to say goodbye, and just thank you again for showing up and hanging out with us. Okay, you guys. playing my video, and adios. You guys on the show, don't hang up. I'll be right back.